I didn't get a chance to go see Kay today because early this morning we went down to the eye doctor to let them check over their work. I've got to remember to make an appointment to have Kay brought over on Saturday. I'll go see her tomorrow. So today I can't go see her. Well, of course they want to know how their job turned out from the cataract removal. And I saw no reason to shortchange how bad it is. Of course, it's not their fault, I guess. I don't know whose fault it is. Just a condition, probably, but my eyes are really bad. And so I was, of course, the technician, girl technician, she checks over all this stuff, checks everything, you know. And then I told her how I was actually, what condition they were in. She, because when the doctor came, he has all the information, he doesn't have to ask me anything. I'm not even sure he looked in my eyes because they had taken pictures of the optic nerve. But in any case, he was, because I had told her all the bad stuff, which was everything, the doctor wasn't in a big mood to hang around and hear more about it. But Tom didn't let him get out of there without trying to get some information. Any case, we had the usual runaround. You know, you take these drops and everything will be just fine. These drops haven't done a thing for me since I had the cataracts out. You know, the manufacturer of the drops says they don't work. They say, no, they don't cure, you can't cure, there's no cure for glaucoma. And of course the doctor goes, well, that's right, but we can halt it with these drops, change the pressure. But isn't that curing it? If you stop it from progressing, aren't you curing it? Isn't that just the opposite of what the manufacturer says right there on his web page? Of course it is. But they've taught them, what else they've got to do if they can't change the pressure? What can they do? They can't do anything. They have to admit it. Look, and they're going to lose all these valuable trips to the doctor and prescriptions for eye drops, that type of thing. They told me today that the pressure was 12. Well, it was around 21, which is still normal when I first had it checked. And the second time I had it checked after taking drops, it was running about 17. Then all of a sudden it's 12. I was told that these things don't test the same. So what is the real? Anyway, I asked him, how do you determine where to set the pressure? Well, I'll tell you. You know, when you ask someone a question and say, well, that's a good question, he doesn't have any answers for it, and he didn't have an answer for it. I've been able to ask 3 doctors that, 3 or 4 of them, and not one has had an answer. Which this whole thing is, I read a survey, some research by a guy 15 years ago, and he had glaucoma and he went blind because he's probably dead by now. So there's no cure for it, but these guys are just continue to get rich by these changing the pressure. I just read a story, rather the description of the complicated procedure, what chemically happens in your eye when a light strikes it, the retina, and you get sight, you see in your brain. And it is so extremely complicated that it's ridiculous to think that all you got to do is change a little pressure and everything is just fine. In the meantime, you're going blind, and they continue to knock down their $100 or $200 a trip to look at you. When I had my first trip to this clinic, my eye pressure was 21, and then they gave me these drops, and my eye pressure for the next 2 visits was 17. Today, my eye pressure was 12 with the same drops. During this time, the last time or two, they've been using different methods of measurement, and I learned that there's a difference. Now today she had this little dinky handheld meter, and it looks like it gets an entirely different reading than anything else. So the question then comes to my mind, well, if these meters don't read correctly, how do they know where to set the eye pressure? I asked the doctor, and all he could say was that was a good question. He had no answer for that. And he has no answer for that because they don't give a darn what the pressure is. You know, it doesn't make any difference as long as it isn't extremely low that your eyeball collapses or the other way around. So I think this, as far as I'm concerned, is still the con game that keeps the customers coming back for more.